monitor's report. Would you do the monitor's report, please?
Monitor's report. The monitor's report is, we decided to review the final one for the end of last school year. Dean Horton did that one. You met Dean at the last meeting. Because we wanted to show you what the final numbers were for the year. So at this time, as of 6:30, when the data for this report, we were still in fiscal watch. The new ones will have that you're in fiscal emergency. So the cash receipts for the whole year were $29,805,990, which was a little bit more than what he originally estimated, which was good. You go down and you look at the expenditures, and the year-to-date expenditures were $30,978,577, which was less than what he anticipated. That also was good. However, if you look at the first line on expenditures and the first line on revenue, you can clearly see that you still, expenditures still exceeded revenues by a little under 200,000. So even though they had made drastic cuts the year before and continued to make cuts, their expenditures were still $1 million over what the revenue was for the whole year. So you can see that their budget is right at $31 million for the year. So then we go down and it just says as of June 30th what their appropriations were. Their certificate of estimated resources, which is where you anticipate how much money you're going to get for the whole year from taxes, from the state revenue, all your general fund monies, any dues, any fees, open enrollment, all that general fund money that comes in. And the general fund certificate said that they they were going to be close to estimating $32 million, but their appropriations must be equal to or less than that certificate, which they were. On the second page, it goes through then and gives us encumbrances, how much money was, how many purchase orders were still out at the end of the year. The $900,000 was all funds, which included the construction funds, which they still have a lot playing with the construction funds and permanent improvement. And then the general fund was the $300,000. If you look at the next category, salaries and fringe benefits, the top line was the actual payments for salaries, the actual payments for fringes versus the estimate, which the payments out were less than what they anticipated. And the salaries and fringes for the year total up to about 76%, 77%, which is still less than the schools. They say once you go beyond 80% in salaries and benefits is when you hit that danger zone. So they are still below the 80% level for that danger zone. So their salaries and benefits are still well in line with where they should be. The numbers of employees for May and June didn't change. We have the bank reconciliation. The variance was in some NSF checks that they needed to get cleared off in the year that weren't cleared off, which they have now taken care of. On page 3, it shows that we will be developing a recovery plan. That's not there yet. The funds that have negative balances were all federal grant funds. Those federal grant funds are funds where they apply for money with grants, but because of the fiscal year hanging out there, the state can't send them money till July. So those are all awaiting federal dollars to come in. And then Dean put several notes in there that the district had been, by the time he had done this report, the district had already been placed in fiscal emergency. And he noted the House Bill 264 project that was still going to be done. He noted the cash balance for the end of the fiscal year was $897,000 in the general fund, and the excess of expenditure over revenues that we just talked about. He talked about the fact that there was a severe limit to how much reduction could still be done, and And the bottom notation is that payroll on July 2nd, they didn't have enough to meet that. They sold a tax anticipation note, that's called a TAN, and they borrowed it from themselves, from their bond retirement fund, and they went out and got an estimated rate, so they used 2.75 as their rate, and so they were able to pay it back on July 14th with interest. Because, as Sean just mentioned, County Auditor was very good about collecting their taxes and giving them tax advances. So, that is the monitoring report for the end of June. At the next meeting, we will give you July and August. We will catch you up with the new year. But I thought it was really important for you to see where they were at and what their budget for the year looked like for that general fund. And actually, I think we're going to try the new format out on them too. Okay. There's a new format we put together for the monthly monitoring report that's going to be more of a spreadsheet type thing that will give you estimates and actuals for the year. And so hopefully I can have that ready for you next month.
Thanks, Londa. Any questions for Londa? Hearing none, let's go on to new business. We have resolution 006-10, which is personnel resignations, employment and status changes. Would you read the resolution, please?
Whereas the Little Miami Local School District was declared to be in state of fiscal emergency on July 13, 2010, and whereas the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission for the Little Miami School District has been created pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 33-1605 to assure the fiscal integrity of the Little Miami Local School District, and whereas the Commission has statutory responsibility to approve the district's actions regarding fiscal management matters for the Little Miami Local Schools, and whereas the district has presented the following list of personnel status changes that were approved at the August 17, 2010 Board of Education meeting. You see under Superintendent's report for personnel, there was certified personnel employment of 3 people. The substitute certified personnel employment. Then we have a list of classified personnel employment for cooks, custodians, and bus drivers. We have a classified leave of absence request of a teacher, aide. Employment of coaches, which goes on over into the back page. We save paper, and so it's front and back. And there's quite an extensive list of coaches. Then we have a Board of Education recommendation to employ a treasurer. Whereas these personnel actions are within current appropriations, and whereas these actions are pursuant to Little Miami Local School District Board Resolution dated, and that should say August 17th. I apologize, instead of July 20th. Are not taken by commission pursuant to ORC 33-1607A11. Now therefore be it resolved that the commission approves the aforementioned district board resolutions to make the above changes in contracts by following procedures to the extent possible in negotiated agreements and Ohio Revised Code.
Having heard the resolution, can I have a motion for discussion, please?
So moved.
Gitter? Hurst, I'm sorry. Second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Castleman. I have, since it's part of our duty to make certain that they follow the recovery plan, that we approve all the contracts and everything. I want to know if these folks are additional people coming into the district, or if they are replacing people who have already left the district. I asked the superintendent's question earlier. These are all replacement people on there. Salaries, if they had the step increases, I know that doesn't tell us the salaries. It'd be nice if those were also listed. And we're really not concerned about substitutes so much as we are regular employees, because the substitutes you're going to have anyway. Any questions regarding the resolution?
I have a question.
Please.
On the substitute list under cooks.
As far as I'm
Abstaining.
Oh. You may abstain. No questions? Hearing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Wheeler?
Abstain.
Mrs. Councilman?
Yes.
Mr. Hurst?
Yes.
Resolution 007, approve purchase orders in excess of $5,000. Would you read that resolution, please?
I am going to not bore you with the first two paragraphs. Whereas the commission has statutory responsibility to approve the district's actions regarding fiscal management matters for Little Miami schools. Whereas the district has presented the following list of purchase orders in excess